I'm not happy, but I'm not sad. Flux of emotions, my head's spinning out. I've been thinking too much. I got time on my hands. Need to escape reality for the sake of myself. I'm kinda stuck down on my luck. Don't know what it is, but I'm in a funk. Staring at the wall, can't shake what I'm feeling at all. I don't wanna have to find ways to distract my...
I finished the first story in Nancy Drew Files, volume 2. Nancy is messy and so hilarious. I don't know if she's like this in the like OG series yellow covers. Those are the ones that I read first, and then I read the college years, and I remember finding those so entertaining. So then when I read these, I was like, oh my gosh, this is just as entertaining as the college years. But are these like the same thing? I don't think these are the same thing, because she's like 18 in this, but she's not in college, but her boyfriend's in college. I don't freaking know. I think they're like all like ulterior Nancy Drews. Because like what? How are there so many spin-offs to Nancy Drew? I already knew this was going to be messy, because right here it says, Nancy calls in her boyfriend Ned to help. When he seems to fall in love with the lead suspect's sister, Nancy is on her own as the killer's next mark. Excuse me, Ned is over here in love with the suspect's sister? Excuse me. Nancy and Ned had a very special relationship. They'd known each other since they were kids, and when they'd first realized that they loved each other, they'd thought it would last forever. But neither one was ready yet for a forever commitment. So occasionally, they drifted apart, dating other people. Yet somehow, Nancy always found herself coming back to Ned. They were so in tune with each other that no matter what they were doing, whether it was tracking down clues to a mystery or planning a private party for two, it seemed that they could read each other's thoughts. Messy. When this book started, she was hella jealous. She was jealous from the jump. She was ready to bite off this girl's head. She said, not my man, not today. In magazine that this woman, Yvette, works at, and she thinks that she's gonna be killed. And so she hires Nancy to figure out who it is, and she suspects it's her co-owner. This girl Nancy, she calls Ned and she's like, will you come and be like my backup? He's like, I don't want anything to happen. Like, what if it gets violent? So Ned was pissed off. He was like, how you gonna call me about some mess, a case you have, and how you're scared when we were supposed to be going up to the lake house for my spring break with my parents. And then like later he said, I think I'm having deja vu. Last time we were supposed to go up to the cabin, you had to cancel because of some mystery. Now it's happening all over again. Not her always dipping on him. Oh my gosh. Nancy was doing something at the magazine or whatever, and she's pretending to be an intern, and I think Ned is also pretending to be an intern, and the suspect's sister works there along with the suspect, whatever, you get it. So Nancy enters the reception area and the receptionist is nowhere to be found, but Ned was there talking to Sandra, that's the sister, and acting very interested in what she was saying. They were standing close. In fact, it looked to Nancy as if her dependable boyfriend were flirting at that moment. Sandra let out a peal of laughter, and Ned broke into a charming smile. But there's no reason for him to be standing so close to her in order to do this if he's trying to get clues. No way was she going to stand around and watch her boyfriend flirting with another girl. She was gonna come and fight somebody. Bet you Nancy Drew can throw hands. I know she can. I know she can fight. I just know it. She gets to a point where her friends come to have lunch with her one day, and Ned was actually like, how are you gonna have your friends come all the way to Chicago to have lunch with you, and like I'm right here. Who am I supposed to have lunch with? Oh my goodness. Point was made. Got her at lunch with her friends. Believe it or not, Ned Nickerson might be cheating on me. I was like, girl, the dramatics, but not her best friend. She was like, who is she? She wanted to know right away. She was ready. She said, point her out. Point her out. That's how a friend is. Exactly. Exactly. Once things started to go down, they were at the police station for something or another. And Ned is over here comforting the sister Sandra, and Nancy gets so pissed. She breaks up with him right there in the middle of the damn police station with the girl and her father in attendance. Who does that in front of their father? Ned and Nancy usually do this together, so she still called Ned up and was like, hey, are you gonna help me catch this person? And he invites Sandra because Sandra wanted to help, and blah, blah, blah. And then Sandra was like, listen, both of you are stubborn, no one is gonna listen to the other, so I'm going to step in. And I didn't expect them to like make up, but they totally make up, like and like they're booed up by the end of this whole ordeal, because of course something dangerous ends up happening and they like get trapped. She finally goes to the lake house with Ned. They're relaxing, his parents are there, and they're like over here kissing and making up. And I'll say, Nancy exclaimed, you got a little carried away with one of them. Oh no, we don't have to go through the thing about Sandra again, do we? Ned asked with a laugh. I told you we only kissed each other once. You kissed? Her lips met her lips? She figured that both she and Ned had learned a lot from this experience. For one thing, they had learned how much they belonged together. And for another, they learned that even though a little fling wasn't the most horrible thing in the world, it was best kept short and sweet. Ned is like, you have to be careful, like I was really scared back there, I don't want to lose you. And she's like, I'll try and stay out of trouble. The young detective had her fingers crossed behind her boyfriend's back. I'll try, she thought, until the next mystery comes along. Nancy ain't shit, y'all. I don't know, I feel like I need to read the OG one, like the basic one with like the old school covers, like the one with the clock and shit, over again, because I don't know if those were as funny as these are, but these have me dying. I can't wait to read the next one. I hope that Nancy Drew continues to be scandalous and messy, and just Nancy knows she's hot too. Like, it's so funny to me because she's like, oh yeah, I know I'm gorgeous, I know I'm hot, like all these boys want to flirt with me and date me. Like, girl, okay now. George wins this rafting competition or like sweepstakes. She can't even remember how she got the award. She just got a phone call of some lady saying, hey, you and 3 other people can come and go on this fully paid vacation rafting at some random river. It's so sketchy, like what the hell. She talks Nancy and Bess into going with her, and Nancy's like, oh, what if I bring Ned along? Girl, this is George's trip, like what? And I thought George had a boyfriend who she met in the, I don't think it was in this book, I think it was the other one. Dating in Hit and Run Holiday, so I don't know why he wasn't brought up in this, but I guess because I would think she would want to bring her boyfriend, not Nancy's boyfriend, but it is Nancy Drew's series. Like asking Ned if he wants to come. She looked at Ned. He was wearing his light brown hair a little longer than usual, and his face was darkly tanned. She wondered if he'd been spending time at the college swimming pool, and if so, whether he'd been alone or ... And I'm just like, girl. And then I like put in here, like, they seriously need to have a talk, because I feel like this idea that they can handle like being together but like also available for whatever the mood moves them, like clearly it's not working. I get that it works for some people, but it's not working for you. He's like, okay, sure, I'll go. But then she's like, you don't sound excited. Let's face it, Nancy, we've seen each other only 2 or 3 times in the last couple of months. And even then I was taking you away from your detective work, which is something I feel like you'd rather be doing. We've patched things up, but who can tell whether the patch is going to be permanent? After all, maybe you've changed the way you feel about me. Nancy's telling him like, oh, that's not true, la-ti-da. You're so important to me that I can sort of relax knowing you'll be around without having to worry about it a whole lot. She go tell him that? Is that supposed to sound like a good thing? And then Ned says, what you're saying is that you've been taking me for granted, is that it? Like, girl, he won't always be there. Like, you can't just assume these people are always going to be there at your beck and call. Nancy's a mess, I told y'all. And then it ends with someone telling her that the trip that your friend won is no prize. If you know what's good for you, you'll stay home and stay alive. So clearly, whoever set up George winning knows that George is friends with Nancy and wanted Nancy to not go or not. Because like, how they know Nancy? You know what I'm saying? Like, clearly it's a setup. It's a setup. And you know, if you're gonna warn Nancy Drew not to go somewhere, she's going to go. But we're gonna see what happens. I'm gonna keep reading. She's probably gonna get hit on the head at least 5 times in this one, because she always is getting hit in the head, and I'm like, this girl probably has so many concussions, like, because she's always getting hit. Like, they come up behind her and just like, boo. And I'm like, what? I have officially finished Nancy Drew Files Part 2. So first I'm going to tell you quickly about Hit and Run Holiday, because I don't think I filmed any footage of me reading that, but this one, the summary says, okay, a friend's near murder plunges Nancy down a path of darkness on Florida's seemingly sunny beaches, with a whispered name as her only clue. Nancy is desperate to find the culprit before he strikes again. So in this one, her and her friends, George and Bess, they go on holiday, and I think they went to like Fort Lauderdale or something like that, and their friend from like their neighborhood was also there. And she's acting really suspicious when Nancy gets there, and she almost gets hit by she does get hit by a car. Then there's like a lot of really shady things going on after that. Her friend almost dies. Nancy gets like kidnapped on this boat, and there were like multiple attempts on her life. People died in that story, and I was just like, wow, this is crazy. But that one was so good because there was no drama with her and Ned in it. Ned did not appear once in that story. It was just Nancy going about it. Like, Nancy got hit in the head so many times. So then this one, Whitewater Terror, Nancy and her friends are on a whitewater rafting adventure that becomes a deadly game of cat and mouse. With accidents occurring at every turn, it's clear the perpetrator won't stop until actual lives are lost. But who is behind it all, and who is the target? So this is the one I was reading. The last story, unfortunately, in this little bind up of the Nancy Drew Files. First we had the suspicious call, and then we had them almost driving off of a cliff, and then we had them getting shot at. They thought they were getting shot at, and then Nancy almost getting lost in a current. And then we had multiple times where like she woke up and there was a snake on her, then like she almost hit with a boulder. So many things happened at the end of like every single chapter in this book. It was just so obvious. There were so many red flags about this whole entire trip. Like I was saying about how George was like, oh, I want to go anyway, even though, you know, every sign points to this being very suspicious and very like red flaggy, and like something is clearly wrong. Like no one was there to pick them up. They almost drove off a cliff. Like there were so many red signs for them to turn around and just go home. And Nancy being like, why would they call me and warn me when George is the one who won the contest? And that's very valid. Like, why are they calling you, Nancy? Like, how did they know that you're going if George is the one who won? I like it more when the stories are set up and they're like kind of unsuspecting. They were going to visit their friend. They get there and she's in this situation and stuff like that, like in Hit and Run Holiday, when she was called in purposefully for a case, like with the magazine shoot, and then in the other book with high school and things like that. But I don't like that this one was just so obvious that clearly someone is trying to set up Nancy Drew. In that situation, they should have gone with the cops already there. I actually liked that the only situation with her and Ned was actually that part that I told you about in the beginning, when he was like being partnered up with that other girl, and Nancy was just, did I say that? Well, if I didn't, at the beginning of the story, there was this girl named Sammy who kept trying to be partnered up with Ned, and I was like, girl, this is your boyfriend. I think it's time for you to, you know, boo up with him. Like, this is supposed to be you two trying to rekindle your thing. But that was the only drama that they really had as a couple, because after that, her and Ned were pretty much just together the whole time. And especially when Ned started seeing that Nancy was in a lot more trouble, he was like, okay, this girl has got to go. I need to make sure that Nancy is okay. I need to like focus on her. And so that was a lot better than having all of the drama. I think that is everything for my Nancy Drew reading, at least for a while, until I can get some more Nancy Drew books. Hopefully you enjoyed this little read with me reading vlog-ish of me and Nancy Drew and Nancy Drew Files. I am going to miss this version or this era of Nancy. She's been fun, her and Ned and their drama. Hopefully they have a talk and fix their problems. But that is all. Thank you so much for watching.